Hello YouTube, this is Darksin12 or One Set Malicious on Pojo. We're back again on Dueling like a Swordsman. Today we're going to talk about some of our most common counters and how to deal with them. We're basically on the defensive today. So basically we're going to start with some of our common counters, like for example Nobleman of Crossout. This is actually a card that I put in my own side deck to go against the mirror match, but it's also a card that many other decks use against us. Why? Because we start our plays putting our cards face down. For example, like a Dark Soul, we start our turn by putting Dark Soul face down, putting a couple of other cards face down, a couple of traps, and then ending our turn. But basically then on their opponent's turn, they draw Nobleman of Crossout, they use it on our Dark Soul, and we can't activate the effect. Plus, we lost a very vital card in our graveyard. And basically that ruins our entire play. That could leave our hand with no other monsters or without a key monster for the next turn. So how do we deal with a Nobleman of Crossout? Well, the most effective way, or at least like in my opinion, the most useful way to just make this card a dead draw is to just play your X-Sabers face up first turn. Like for example, just play the Dark Soul face up in attack position, set a couple of traps, and pass the turn. It's better to take 1700, 1600, 1500, 1400 damage from your opponent's monster than losing your Dark Soul to a Nobleman of Crossout. It's better to just get the effect, get some damage in the beginning. Or if you have like an Emmer's Blade, which is even more vulnerable, just play it face up, and it's better for your opponent to Dark Hole Emmer's Blade than to Nobleman of Crossout it, because you could use Emmer's Blade later on the game with a Gotham Seagull or just revive it with Monster Reborn or something like. So basically, just like if you know your opponent plays Nobleman of Crossout, just you place your X-Sabers face up on the field, even if it's Dark Soul. It's better to take the damage than to lose a very important card in your deck. Alright. Next up is Gorz, the Emissary of Darkness. This is a very common card, especially in plants. Against the plant matchup, they leave the field open. It's also a card that we tend to make it very live, because thanks to cards like Yunlei that blow up the back row, we basically leave the opponent with a very, very open field to use Gorz against us. So how do we deal with Gorz? Alright, actually a couple of ways to deal with Gorz. One of the most effective ways is to use Scrap Dragon. Attack with Scrap Dragon, then when he summons Gorz, destroy the token with Gorz. With Scrap Dragon, and then just leave the Scrap Dragon there so the Gorz cannot run over it. And maybe have a Full Knight or something. Have a Full Knight to cover your Fall Troll or something. But another way is to have Brionic, Dragon at the Ice Barrier. Have this guy ready for when they summon Gorz. You can just either bounce it back and then force your opponent to like attack or something. Another way to make Gorz dead card in the hand is a lot of opponents they usually wait for the biggest monster to attack, right? For example, I have a Fall Troll, I have a Brionic, and I have a Scrap Dragon. If your opponent has a lot of life points, he's gonna wait till you attack with Scrap Dragon so he can summon the token of Gorz and have two very powerful monsters in the field. If you're expecting that and you want to play a little smart, attack with Brionic, hit for 23. Ask if he's going to activate the effect. He's most probably going to say no. You ask, do you have Gorz? He's most probably going to say no. When he says no, and you know that he has Gorz in his hand, pass the turn. And then you can you just left the Gorz in the hand, unable to be used, and you still have two very powerful monsters here that he has to deal with immediately. Very, 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 very nasty move. A little bit dirty, but it actually tricks a lot of people. And you're basically playing fair. You're asking him if he's going to activate the effect and stuff, so. Okay, so another powerful card that gets in our way. Royal Oppression. I even main this card because it's so powerful, but it's so deadly against us. So what's our like best protection against Royal Oppression? Well, cards like Mystical Space Typhoon on the hand, or Solemn Judgment, or Seven Tools to Bandit. Those are basically our only protections against Royal Oppression. It's a very powerful card. If they use it at the right time, it can totally devastate your play and will leave you completely defenseless. So if you're expecting a Royal Oppression and you're going against a deck that you know that has Royal Oppression, try to wait till you have any of these three cards in your hand. Or maybe a Dark Bribe or something like that. Something that negates Royal Oppression. So that when they activate Royal Oppression, then you can just quickly either Mystical it, or you can Solemn Judgment it, or you can Seven Tools it. Because Royal Oppression will really, really, really ruin your plays. It's played at the right time. Another card that is also very, very, very powerful against us is Thunder King Ryo. This card doesn't allow us to search with Dark Soul. So basically, if Thunder King runs over Dark Soul, we can't search with it. This card really shuts us down like at the beginning of the game, and can even negate a special summon, for example, a Hyunlai or a Golems, or maybe even a Falto with its effect. It's a very powerful card to go against. So basically, our best bet to go against this card will be using one of our Bogart Knights to just ram into it and then go for destroyed, or use Dark Hole or some other kind of removal like Mirror Force or Bottomless Trap Hole to use against Thunder King, because you really want Thunder King to leave the field as soon as possible so that your Dark Souls can be used and you can get the +1 of Dark Souls. Otherwise, this card is going to really, really, really ruin your game, and it's going to be very annoying, and it's going to slow you down a lot. So this is like, if your opponent summons this, like your first priority is to get this off the field as soon as possible. Another effective way to get it off the field is using Booga Moon and running over it with Full Knight and activating Full Knight's effect, or just, try to get it as possible. A very key note, you can't use Mind Control and then use Pashul to sink into something. It just, I think it doesn't allow you. No. Actually, no, that's with Vanity's Fiend. I'm sorry. Yes, you can do that. You can use Mind Control and just sink into something, but you have to remove Thunder King Ryo from the field. Otherwise, it's gonna ruin a lot of your plays. Another very powerful card against this Effect Baitler. This card can actually shut down our Swarm. For example, we want to go we go Bogart and activate this effect. Effect Baitler. We have a Bogart alone there, defenseless, most probably, unable to do anything, and we have a dead Falter on our hand and a dead Tuner on our hand. So basically, the Effect Baitler is a card that you really have to be careful. It can even shut down, we go Hyunlai and we want to blow up 3 back row. They use Effect Baitler, no more Hyunlai. This card is very, very powerful against it, so we gotta really watch out for it. Best bet to go against this, just lure it. Make the opponent use it beforehand. For example, go Bogart, say you're gonna activate this effect, scare him a little bit, he's gonna use Effect Baitler, and then as long as you have proper protection for Bogart, he shouldn't be any problem next turn going into, you summon another X-Saber like Pachul or Full Knight and then go Falto, blah blah blah. But best bet against this card, just lure it out, force it from your opponent, and basically just render it useless. Another card that's powerful against us is Kinetic Soldier. Kinetic Soldier can actually get really annoying against cards like Full Knight and Faltro, because he gets 2,000 attack and 2,000 defense. So he can either become a wall that's going to stay there for a very long time, or he can become a very powerful attacker against you. So how do we deal with Kinetic Soldier? Well, we can use cards like Bogart, that's a Beast Warrior, and he will basically run over Kinetic Soldier. Or we can use our Golems, 3,100, or maybe something like Naturia Beast or something, some other creature that's not a warrior type monster. Alright, now, that covers some of our most common side deck problems. I'm going to cover now a very difficult matchup that a lot of beginners have against when they're starting with X-Sabers, and it's Gladiator Beasts. But since we're already on 10 minutes in the video, I'm going to leave it for the next video, and I'm going to see you guys next video then. Good luck.